and welcome back to another FPL video. In this video, what I've decided to do is a wildcard team ahead of game week 28. Now there's 6 teams blanking in game week 28, so if you managed so far not to do your wildcard yet until now, well done, especially if you're in, let's say, the top 50k in the world. That is really impressive, to be fair. But I wish that was me, because I could do with getting rid of those Brighton players right now. So yeah, like I said, there's 6 teams obviously blanking in game week 28. I feel like this team will now set you up for at least until game week 32, when the next set of double game weeks will be announced. Now obviously the double game week doesn't get announced in game week 32, it will get announced after the next round of the FA Cup game, so it could be in a couple of weeks time. So anyway, let's get through this team then, shall we? So obviously you can already see the goalkeepers, so I've kept Kepa in goal. For anybody who doesn't know, I've already got Kepa, but he is somebody who I've decided to keep in this wildcard team, just because the person I got alongside him, Danny Ward, I mean, yes, Leicester aren't exactly the best defensive team in the world, but like I said before, he's a starting goalkeeper at only 4 million, so that's dirt cheap. And not to mention, you look at the fixtures with Chelsea and Leicester, I worked it out. Obviously, neither of them are going to have, I don't know if I've got another game week, both of them, but all the way up to game week 37 is the only time where you can have a real headache on which goalkeeper to go with. The rest of it is pretty simple, really. You can swap them over at any point. Obviously, that's providing that Leicester actually improve on their defence, because let's face it, they have been pretty shocking at the back of this season. So if they can sort it out, you look at it, you go 28, you'd go Chelsea, 29 the double, I'd go Leicester, 30, I mean 30 is a tough one. You got Wolves away for Chelsea and Bournemouth at home for Leicester. I mean, I'd just go Leicester, but obviously it sounds difficult because Chelsea are a much better team than Leicester, and Leicester, like I've said, have been poor. And then you go into 31, Leicester got City away. Oh no, I'll pick the Brighton at home fixture, which Chelsea got. Simple. Then Chelsea got Man United away, and obviously Leicester, then they've got Wolves at home. So yeah, it works out quite nicely, the fixtures between Leicester and Chelsea. So definitely a good idea to go for a Chelsea and a Leicester goalkeeper. It just seems to work out quite nicely, and it's nice and cheap as well. So that's why I've gone for those 2 goalkeepers ahead of any others. Like, I like the look of Raya, but I've been a bit disappointed with him the last couple of weeks, if I'm being honest. I've only just owned him, to be honest, but yeah, he has got a couple of tough fixtures out there still. Obviously, got the Man City still to play, Spurs still to play, Chelsea, Liverpool. I mean, 3 of those games are all away as well. That ain't great. And obviously, got Man United away and the double coming up. So, and I don't really like Brentford's double game week, to be honest. Brighton and Man United, and they're both away. So that's why I didn't go for the Brentford goalkeeper. I don't fancy an Aston Villa keeper. You don't want to get an Arsenal keeper because you want Arsenal attackers. Realistically, I don't think, I mean, obviously Nick Pope, I feel like he's been outpriced now. I feel like you don't want to pay any more than 5 million for a goalkeeper. Fraser Forster could be a shout, to be fair, but you just don't know when Lloris is going to come back, because if he comes back in the next, well, game week 32, let's say, then yeah, you could probably do up to them, but then who are you going to get instead? And you don't like to make a goalkeeping change really midway through the season, so I do feel like those 2 are the best goalkeepers to go through for. With the defenders then, so first up, Zinchenko I've got here. Now, I've got 2.7 million in the bank, just thought I'd say that, so I can easily upgrade any of my defenders here. Now, the reason why I'm saying this with Zinchenko is obviously game week 29, Arsenal don't actually have a double. So if I want to change that, I can do for whoever I want. I've gone for Zinchenko instead of Saliba and Gabriel, but generally it does not matter, if I'm being honest. They're all around the same price, they all score around the same amount of points. It really doesn't matter. I'll go for any 3 of them instead of Ben White though. Ben White is cheaper, but you just don't know if he's going to start. I mean, he probably will start, to be fair to him, but he's my least favourite out of those 4. Now, I've gone for Ben Chilwell in there. Now, he's got the fixture in 28, which is important. By the way, they've all got fixtures in 28 except for 3 of them. So I've done that strategically. So I've got 11 playing players for game week 28. So yeah, I've gone for Ben Chilwell. Now, I was going to have him, well, I was going to have Reece James in my wildcard team, then he got injured. So I thought about going for Ben Chilwell, but I bottled it, which is a little frustrating because the last 2 weeks he's got hauls of points. So I've got him for him now. If I'm being honest though, if I find out Reece James is fit again for Chelsea, I'll definitely switch that around and go for Reece James. Just because everybody else is, from the looks of it, obviously Chilwell's price, it went up to 5.9, so people are looking at Chilwell now, and I'm expecting Reece James to be left alone really. So I'm kind of having one eye on Reece James and another one on Chilwell, if I'm being honest. Henry's in there for Brentford now, 4.5 million, starting defender. You can't really ask for much more there. Brentford are on a great unbeaten run. They don't keep loads of clean sheets, from being honest, and he doesn't exactly get hauls of points, assists, goals, that sort of thing. He's somebody in the future who I'll just stick on my bench, and if anything happens to another player, he's guaranteed to come on and give you 90 minutes really. So it's more of a safe pick. I mean, like I said, I've got money in the bank, so I could easily upgrade to it like a Ben Mee, and you never know, he could come on, get an header, score a goal from a corner, that sort of thing. And then finally, double Newcastle defence I've gone for. Obviously Kieran Trippier. I feel like he's a must-have in your team. I know some people have thought about maybe taking him out for like maybe a 1 week punt or something. I don't think it's worth it. I know Newcastle have got not the easiest of doubles for 29, but I still think they'll beat Man United just because they lost in that final. They're going to be looking for revenge. So that's why I'm feeling more towards Newcastle there. I think 28 they'll keep a clean sheet. And either way, even if they don't keep clean sheets, Trippier, he seems to be getting assists still. He's not scored a goal for a while, but he's been phenomenal this season. You'd be mad to take him out of your team. And then obviously they're going for Fabian Schär alongside him. He loves a good goal here and there. Great on corners. He's always starts for Newcastle. He's a safe pick. Only 5 million as well. Dirt cheap. I feel like going for double Newcastle defence is a decent idea, to be fair, especially with the fixtures. I don't think Newcastle are going to struggle too much. Onto my midfield now, and honestly, when I did this, it just looks so wrong. It looks so wrong. You've got no premium midfielder, so there's no Salah, there's no De Bruyne, and I've only got one Arsenal midfield. It just looks wrong. No, not even a Man City midfielder in there either. Obviously, that's because Pep rotates every single one of them, which is frustrating. But yeah, it doesn't look right, does it? Now, we'll go into Bowen first. Might be a surprise one, that one, because obviously West Ham do blank in 28. He is one of the three outfield midfielders who I've got to blank. The reason why I've gone for Bowen though is they're struggling at the bottom now, and I've been expecting it all season, to be honest. West Ham to go on a run. Now in game week 29, they've got 2 home fixtures in their double. That's pretty decent. Now I'm not saying they're going to win, but there's always a good chance at home he can score. Then they've got Fulham away. Arsenal at home's tough. Then it's Bournemouth away. It's not the worst run of fixtures they got. Not the worst run of the next 5 fixtures that are coming for them. So that's why I figured maybe go for an outside chance and go for maybe a Jared Bowen there. You never know. You saw how good he was last season. Hopefully, again, he'll be able to back that up again. Saka next. I mean, the guy's been great this season. This was really tough because even then at the time, do I go Odegaard or do I go Saka? I've only gone for Saka on this one ahead of Odegaard because he's on penalties. If Odegaard was on penalties, I'd have Odegaard, to be honest. But either way, there's not really much that's been separating those two all season. They've both been brilliant. You can say the same with Martinelli as well. I've not had Martinelli in this team though, just because the rotational issue now. Jesus is back. Trossard plays for Arsenal now. You can't guarantee Martinelli to be at 90 minutes. You can't even guarantee he's going to start. So I don't consider him anymore, which is sad. So yeah, I've gone for Saka. Don't really need many reasons really to explain it. Arsenal have been phenomenal this season. Saka's been great. It's just an easy pick. Most people have him as well, so that's why I went for Saka. Maddison. Now, I am also expecting, like with Bowen really, big things from Maddison in these next few game weeks. Now, Brentford in 28. Could he get a goal? Yes. Will they win? Doubtful. They've got a nice double in 29. Palace and Villa, those are nice fixtures. And then game week 30, they've got Bournemouth at home. Obviously, 31 Man City away is going to be tough. Then Wolves at home, Leeds away, Everton, Fulham. They've got a good run of fixtures. Barring the Man City game, really, Leicester have a good chance of win. They could win all those games. So, and obviously he is their talisman. He's their go-to guy. He's the free kick guy, the corner taker. If Leicester need a goal, they always turn to James Maddison at the minute. So I feel like he'll be. This might be the best time now to buy Maddison, because if he does score, let's say a goal against Brentford, I reckon people are gonna look at his fixtures for 29 and be like, let's get on Maddison, and he could easily just jump in price. I've gone for Billing next. Now, might seem like a knee-jerk reaction really when it comes to Billing, but he's been good this season. He scored a fair few amount of goals. Obviously, he scored last weekend. He scored 93 points in total this season. That's pretty decent for a Bournemouth midfielder. Now, he's playing more of an attacking role in midfield as well, so that's also something to consider. Aston Villa's their fixture for 28. That's not the worst fixture in the world. And they're double fixtures in 29. They're both home fixtures as well. And obviously, we saw them beat, obviously, what was it, Liverpool 1-0 at home. They nearly beat Arsenal away, to be fair to them. They managed to just lose that game. But they've been causing the big team some difficulties. So maybe that will continue. Leicester away, Spurs away, those two are tough fixtures. But this is more of a gamble, if I'm being honest. This is somebody who you wouldn't think about buying. He's dirt cheap. Like I said earlier, though, there's 2.7 million in the bank. So if you wanted to upgrade your midfielder, you can. But like I said, he's got a fixture in 28. He's got a nice double in 29. It felt like the right pick to go for, if I'm being honest. So that's why I went for Billing. And then finally, Marcus Rashford. I feel like this is another player that I don't really need to say much more about. He is highly owned. He is somebody that I was seriously considering taking out the team, but obviously he's on a hot streak right now. I don't really want to be taking him out, if I'm being honest. He hasn't got a fixture in 28. He is blanking, so he will be on the bench with Bowen and Haaland. But double in 29, you never know what could happen, and you never know what kind of run that he could go on after that. So at the minute, I'm going to keep Rashford. Obviously, if he blanks in the two doubles, he is somebody you should probably consider maybe selling then. But for now, definitely keep him. So overall, looking at midfield, it looks decent, but it also looks wrong. Now, in the future, if you're going to want somebody like a Salah or De Bruyne, that's when it goes a bit, what do I do? My only recommendation would be to take out either a Maddison or a Bowen, replace them with obviously Salah or somebody, and then buy a dirt cheap midfielder 4.3, so Pereira, Fulham. So that's what I'd do there, if I'm being honest. I think that will be good enough. So you got 2.7 in the bank, so you're looking at 10 million, 10 point something million. You take out Bowen, let's say, so you got 4 million, well, just under 4 million extra. So yeah, you'll be able to afford then Salah or De Bruyne. So it'll take you 2 transfers, but you can get a premium back. So then on to my 3 strikers now. First up is Ivan Toney. Now this one was a tough one. This one, look, if you're looking at doing a wildcard team, you don't have to go for Ivan Toney. This is what I would do if it was my wildcard team. The obvious problem with Toney is, when is he going to get that ban? We still don't know anything about it. So for now, he's in my team. But if he was to have this ban suddenly, then it was either going to be between Watkins or maybe even Isaac. Now, Isaac, I didn't go for because I just don't know if he's going to start, if I'm being honest. Because Eddie Howe could easily just put Wilson up front and put Isaac on the bench. So there is that little issue. Ollie Watkins, I mean, I just don't know how much longer his run can go on for. I'm surprised how many goals he scored recently. He wouldn't be the worst pick in the world, but who would I trust more, Toney or Watkins? I just seem to trust Toney more than Watkins, so that's why I've gone for Toney ahead of Watkins. Now, even with the money in the bank, I don't think I could be able to afford Harry Kane in this one if I replace Toney for Kane. So that's why I've not got Kane there. Obviously, if you look to the other side, I've got Havertz. Again, I wouldn't add for Kane. In the middle though, I've got Haaland. Now I could swap Haaland for Kane, but I know a lot of people recently have been thinking about taking Haaland out, but the guy literally just scored 5 goals in the Champions League last night. You must be mental if you're thinking about getting rid of Haaland. That's a danger that he can do. He can just go, you know what, I'm just going to bag 5 goals here and I'm going to shut everybody up. And he has done. Personal preference, I would never take Haaland out of my team unless he's out for the season. If people want to gamble, even if it's a 1 week punt, I think they're mental, but it might work out. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping Haaland in. They don't have a fixture for 28. They don't have a double for 29. But Erling Haaland can easily outscore all of these players in just that one game in 29. So that's why I'd recommend keeping Haaland in. And then finally, I've mentioned it just a minute ago, I've got Kai Havertz up front. This one, now obviously Potter came out recently, said he's going to be the penalty taker. And if it's not him, it'll be Reece James. Another reason, by the way, to maybe think about going for Reece James when he's fit. So if I did have them, it wouldn't matter who takes penalty. It's a win-win. But it looks like Potter, this is Potter's guy up front. He's been playing every game, even with that Fofana signing. He's not been replaced. Aubameyang can't seem to get a look in the team. It is all about Kai Havertz starting. So, and when Felix plays, he plays behind Havertz. So he starts every game. Chelsea look like they could be starting to get onto a run now. They've got the fixture in 28. They've got the double in 29. And Havertz, obviously, he gets a lot of stick, but sometimes he's unfortunate. He seems to get a lot of goals that are disallowed. So he could be a good differential pick. So he has those periods where he just go in a few game scoring streaks. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but he would be my gamble third striker. He's playing for a team that should be higher in the league. They should be scoring more goals. Maybe they might finally do it in this little run. We'll have to wait and see. But that's why I'd recommend going for Kai Havertz. So then, that's the wildcard team that I'll do if I could wildcard in Game Week 28. Now, there's 11 players, like I said, playing in Game Week 28. 29, there's only 12 double game weekers, but you could easily change that. If you want to take Zinchenko out and change it for a double game weeker, that would add another one. Or if you want to take Saka out, wouldn't recommend it, you could do that. And same with Erling Haaland, wouldn't do that though. I feel like that is probably the best team to go for. Let me know if you disagree or agree, which player you think I've missed out. I do hope you like that video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.